Mike Fannin here from Carrick Wealth, live with MyGrowthFund. And yeah, the guys asked me this morning just to come online, have a chat to you, and let's talk about this crisis that we face right now. How businesses are going to handle it, how are we going to get through it, what are some of the ideas. And what the idea today is that, you guys, if you've got a business and you've got something you want to talk about or think, please, click the button, join the live, and the guys at MyGrowthFund will hook you up and we can have a chat. Just getting started, I wanted to sort of give you some ideas that I've been thinking about this morning. I got up and I try and have a routine. It's the biggest thing about it. So obviously working at home, you sort of tend to struggle sometimes and sort of, it's easy to maybe stay in bed and not get moving. But I got up and had a thought about, what is it that we do? What do we need to do in terms to handle, this crisis that our businesses face right now? And I think the first thing is you've got to be thinking about is, you need a plan. It's very easy to get overwhelmed with the enormity of what we face, of just how much, this problem is that stares at us. But, once you sit down and start to write out that plan, you'll break it down. You'll find that it's not nearly as big a hill as what you think it is. Yes, we are curtailed in terms of our economy, in terms of the trade and things we can do, but it's that starting, getting to work, sitting down and writing it on and saying, right, what is my plan? And for me, my plan, what we did with Carrick, our first one was understanding what were the problems, where were the areas that we had a weakness, shall we say, where were the areas that we knew that we had to address in terms of our business that had changed because of this new way of doing business. So once we understood that and writing that plan, you've then got something you can work towards and work with in order to, get an understanding of how you're going to handle it and what you're going to do. The second thing I think is really important is, check your contacts and get in touch with everybody, your clients, your employees, co-workers, business partners, whatever it may be. But you want to be getting in touch with these people, conversing with them and active with them, okay, in terms of what is their situation, where are they at, work with them in order to make sure you guys can keep working and running together. Like I say, guys, for those of you who've just joined, this is really designed to be an interactive session. So if you've got a business, you've got a question, hopefully I will try and answer it. I don't know all the answers, but I will hopefully try and help you with some ideas on what we're doing to try and get through this crisis that we all face now with this coronavirus. So going back to that, in terms of interacting with your clients, I think it's important for us, we as an investment management business, we thought, a lot of people would be, terrified in terms of the economy, etc. A lot of our clients saw it as an opportunity to invest. So by having very close contact with people, constantly communicating with them, we got to understand their needs better. And I think that your clients will appreciate that you're reaching out to them and, getting in touch with them, saying, right, what is it that you're looking at? What is it that you need? Check your message is another important one. It's a really good time. We've got a lot of ways that we interact with people out there. Right now, our interaction is limited quite strongly just to the social media aspects, your Facebook, your Instagram, your LinkedIn profiles and that thing. What does your website look like? It's a really, really good time to seriously re-examine what is your message and how are you putting it across. What's your copy like? Is it written correctly? Have you got spelling errors in your website? Those sort of things. Clean it up, make it nice and tight, make it nice and sharp. What you're really looking for is to find a way to say, right, this is my message, make it clear, make it strong, and make sure that it's effective in terms of telling people that not only are you still there, but you're still actively doing business. And that's really, really important, okay? So use this time to optimize the way that you deliver your message across to other people. Focus on what you're good at. This is one of my favorites. It's one of the things that I espouse quite a lot. We had there's a book by Jim Collins, Good to Great. And one of the things, he says, he calls it the hedgehog principle, but it's find the one thing that you can be the best in the world at, and then just do that, okay? Don't do a whole lot of different things. Don't be a jack of all trades. Don't do 50 different ideas and that sort of thing. Seriously, find that one idea, that one concept, and focus just on that. And in times like this, those are the businesses I believe that are going to do really well, where they've got a really specific skill, product, service, whatever it may be. They focus on those and they power through and just being, really effective at delivering that solution. So, it's really a time to sort of say, what is it that is my unique selling point? What is the thing that I'm doing differently? And how do I focus on that? We've got a question here. At times, how does one manage to their cost at the same time fuel growth post-corona? An interesting one. I think the first thing is that the biggest thing is to have a really strong look at costs. Now, one of the things that seems to be one of the side effects of this thing is people are re-examining their fixed costs in their business and deciding, do they need them? Things like offices, for example, do you need an office? Do you need to have a fixed cost like rental? Do you need to have the cost of a kitchen where people are making coffee and all these different bits and pieces? I think it's a really interesting one to sort of to open up your expenses, okay, and draw through each and every one of them and look at them from a completely objective point of view. Forget everything you've done in the past and say, right, why is this expense there? And also, what profit does this expense generate? So in my life, if I'm spending money on something, it needs to be earning me money some way or another. And if I can't find a clear correlation between how that thing is in some way or other generating profit for my business, I have to seriously consider why it's there. So the first thing really is you've got to button down the expenses now. You really, that's what's going to kill you in your business. Yes, not having income is tough, but it's those outgoing expenses that are going to rip the heart out of your business so fast. So cut them to the bone. Negotiate with your suppliers and providers. Your landlord, anybody who you have to pay regular money to, you need to have to sit down and have a chat. And I recommend having that chat early. Okay, don't wait until the last minute. Where everybody understands the crisis we're in, everybody understands the position you're in. Go and have a discussion about how you can manage those fixed expenses. For example, and the thing is also is work with them. To go to your landlord and say, I'm not going to pay you any rent. That guy's also got an income that he's got a problem. The chances are that the income, if he says, well, I'm not going to pay anything, you're going to end up with a debt that you're going to end up having to pay back later. Wouldn't it be better then to rather say, listen, I'll pay you a reduced rent for the next 3 months or so, but negotiate with him, work out what's going to work for him. So be in touch with those guys and expenses. Income-wise, go back to focus on what it is that you do best. Okay, get involved in things like lead generation. Lead generation, automated lead generation, it's fairly new still. People aren't using it as much in South Africa, but it's a huge opportunity, okay, to generate flow to your business using these automated systems. They've got these click funnels and the whole thing. We've started to use them quite extensively. They're a really good way of driving business. So start looking at ways to get fresh income. Guys, there's so many aspects to this, but this is really that place where you start to say, right, I've got to re-examine my business because the way that it ran in the past, it probably, I'm expecting us to be running like this for at least a year, maybe longer, which is terrifying. But if we can either throw our hands in the air and go, hang on, we stuffed, or okay, now we've got to make a plan. We've got to make a way to make this work. So your plans, you're cutting costs, you're finding new ways to generate leads. Those are the things you've got to do. For service guys, productize your services. Okay, people who are doing service industries, guys who are doing gyms and things like that. Initially, they all went online and sort of started selling, online training. That was the first part. But now what people are starting to do is to sell a package. Okay, a package of online videos, a package of online exercise things. It's one of the ways they're doing it. So find a way to create a product around your service. It's going to be easier for you to generate income out of that. We've got a question over here. Is it advisable to cut down salaries or to allow people to work from home? I'm thinking of something about this. I think it's definitely advisable to sit down and have a discussion with staff if you're going to run into cash flow problems about a cut in salary. It's a global trend. Richard Branson has cancelled salaries for Virgin for 2 months. I'm not advocating anything as extreme as that, but I think that in times like this where people are working from home, they're not incurring as much expense, okay, in terms of going to work, buying lunches, etc., etc. So it's a very logical argument to say, listen, we're going to cut salaries by X percentage, rather work from home, make it more profitable. If you're going to enter into the discussion in terms of salaries with your staff early and do it as talk to people. We're all in this together. Everybody understands that there's this problem. I don't think there's a single person in the world who doesn't expect their income to be significantly impacted by this. So if you speak to people and you involve them in the conversation, you'll arrive at a solution that will work for everybody. So, definitely I think that I don't think you're going to have a labor law problem. South Africa is a no work, no pay system. So you're not going to have an issue in terms of reducing salaries especially by common agreement. And at the end of the day, that's what's going to be needed to save the companies. I think people would rather have some salary than none if your company goes under. So, yeah, very, very much you want to be having that discussion with people. What have we got here? Be indispensable. Okay, this is a good one in terms of of what we look at in terms of businesses. Right now, people are going to invest and spend money with businesses that either make them money or save them money. Okay, that's it. So if you either, that's what people are down to. If it's going to make me money or it's going to save me money, I'm going to get involved in that. So am I optimizing things where you're using technology or apps to help people optimize their business, save them cash? They're going to be interested in that. Any service that's going to save them money or make them money, those are businesses that are going to be important in this time. And I think that the move towards technology is definitely going to, it's going to accelerate, obviously, and within that, there's going to be opportunities to create these type of industries that you can work with. Let's just have a look here. Launched an app 2 weeks ago. It's up on all platforms. It's booming and people are downloading. I don't have funds to run it further. What do I do now? I think that there is funding available through some of the government grants and things that have come up. I haven't spent as much time reading those yet, but I think there's funding available for it. There's also a lot of guys out there, VC type entities that are investing. Now, they're not investing in everything. There are people looking at opportunities, but there are people out there who understand that this is a significant opportunity to invest in the whole new business frontier that's going to be happening. So, I think what you want to be doing is move away from simply saying, well, I need funds to run it. What are the funds for? Is it just, if it's paying salaries and things, you're going to have a problem, because essentially what you're doing is you're loaning money for your expenses, which is always a dangerous thing. Okay. If you're going to be using that money to expand the business, people are going to have a different discussion with you. So again, I think, break it down into what is it you need the money for? What are you planning on doing with it? And if you're going to have to pay it back, how are you going to do that? For me right now, there's a lot of loans running around, and the loans scare me, because you've got to ask yourself, and this is the hard part of some people with these businesses, is my business going to make it, or am I just prolonging the pain? If you can't say to yourself, my business as it is, won't make it through this year, you've got to have a serious discussion. You've got to have a very serious discussion about what it is you're doing, how you're doing it, and whether you're going to change it. Because, like I say, I don't see this changing really this year. We've moved into a stage 4 lockdown. At some stage, we'll move to stage 3 in some areas and go up to, it's going to be varied in some points. You literally don't know what's going to happen. So you have to operate under the assumption that this is where we're at. This is how we're going to have to do it. And if you can't survive, borrowing money to prolong that it's just going to get you into a bigger and bigger hole. So yeah, funding is a tricky one. I think it's important to go back to, as I started the discussion, what is your plan and what are you going to use it for? And that plan of how you're going to run your business in this new normal is going to be very, very important. I think also that what we've got to do with these things is it gets down to, going back to yourself and just saying, what is it I'm trying to achieve with my business? What is the goal? What happens when we run these things is our businesses grow organically, and they shoot off in different angles, and they develop their lives of their own. And now's also a great time to go back to the core and say, what is it that I'm trying to achieve? Where am I trying to go with this? What am I looking to do? That's going to give you, again, that guidance in terms of focusing on how you drive it forward. Because without that, you're sort of chasing 15 different angles, 15 different ideas. It's not the time for it. What is that base thing that you set the thing up for? What am I really, really good at? What are the things that I can deliver better than anybody else out there? And focus on doing those. And stay positive as well. The hardest part in this sort of thing, in these sort of crises, is you're sitting at home and you feel like the world's collapsing and it's all over, etc. What I always say to people, it's a fortuitous position. We spend our lives worrying what rock bottom looks like. I think it's one of the things I spent my life for a long time worrying. What does it look like when you're about to lose it all? Well, okay, now we all know. So we're here. Okay, and it's actually not that bad. You still got your brain, you still got your mind, you still got all your talents and abilities. Now's that time to sort of regroup and power forward. Not let it get you down, not let it break you. It's an empowering thought to know that the thing that you're so afraid of, here now. Now, what do we do about it? And it's easy to sit and have that self-pity in that moment of, and you can have it, make no mistake. You're allowed to have a day or two to feel sorry for yourself. But after that, we've got to get up and go. We've got to write a plan. We've got to decide what we're changing. We've got to decide how we're getting into new markets. We've got to decide what it is that you can do that the world needs and that you can do better than anybody else, and then get cracking on. And it's about going forward. It's about getting that momentum, and even if, doing however small a thing is that you do each day and building that momentum forward, that's what's going to build your business. Okay? That's what's going to break you. What do we got here? What do we got? Advice for travel and logistics company now during Corona and post-Corona. That's an interesting one. Travel and logistics, it hasn't died. Okay, you've still got, and I've been involved in a logistics business through a friend. Now, the travel logistics is because the movement of goods isn't going to change completely. Okay, people still need to eat. People are still going to need to buy homes, build homes, whatever it may be. The economy, the base ideas of things, although it's severely curtailed, we still need goods and services. We're coming into winter. People are going to need to buy heaters. They're now going to allow us to buy winter clothing and things like that. So if you're a logistics or transporting company, you've got to ask yourself, what are the goods that are moving? And if I'm not transporting those, why not? What do I need to do to adapt my business to say, right, let's say it's refrigeration. I don't know, but you again, work it out. What is it that you can do in that area that nobody else is doing? Remember that line that I said to you there, how do you make customers money or save money? Is there a way your business, your logistics business, can do something more efficient? Is there a way that you can maybe collectivize transport, find different, but it's challenging what you're doing now and finding a way to do it better in a way that other people are going to start to value. But trucking logistics, the stuff is happening. People are moving. People are moving goods and services happening. I've got outside my house here, I see the trucks going off to Woolies and to Checkers. That's the food. Once we get into level 4, you're going to see more and more goods and services. So your business, if you're not transporting goods now, goods are being transported. Ask yourself, what is it that they're moving and why aren't I moving it? Get into your network. Start talking to people. Who are the guys who are getting the deals, and can they get you involved? So yeah, that's how I would look at that. Question: do we take the money out of the country? Will junk states destroy investments? Keep it out of the country, ensure it's safe. We keep. Okay. In terms of, it's a question I struggle to be objective with in terms of moving money out of the country. We specialize in offshore investment, and we've been. And it's not that we don't believe in South Africa. People say if you invest outside of South Africa, you don't believe in the country. It's not that at all. South Africa is an emerging market. Okay. Now, in any form of investment, it never makes sense to have 100% of your investments in an emerging market or in a risky currency. It's just not good strategy in terms of your long-term savings. So you definitely want to be exposing yourself to hard currencies in terms of the way you invest money. It's just a basic rule in terms of having a stable base for your investment performance. So with what's happened now, junk status, the rand's taking a battering, our economy's taking a battering, as opposed to saying, well, I'm moving money, ask yourself from an investment perspective, are you comfortable investing your life savings in a country that's got this much turmoil? 3 or 4 years ago, Brazil had an impeachment of their president. Their oil companies went through hell. The whole country looked like it was going to erupt completely. And at the same time as people then weren't comfortable investing in what was a volatile country, now you've got to ask the same question. So, long-term savings-wise, I'm still a fan of investing offshore. Even though the rand's taken this big hit, I don't particularly see it coming back. Let's say we come back, we're at 19 to the dollar. At the most, come back 10%, puts you at 17.10. That 10% you'll make up long term by holding a hard currency. Yeah, definitely. So for your savings that are going to back you up in times of this, I think having an offshore exposure is extremely, extremely important. And I don't think that you'll regret it at all. I think leaving all your money in rand could hurt it. I mean, inflation could get very, very ugly here. Really, really ugly. And I always say inflation, if you imagine you go to Checkers and you buy all your food, and I always put my meat and my wine in last. And inflation is like somebody coming to a trolley and taking all of your meat and wine out, so you can't have that anymore. And that's really what happens when your currency devalues the way ours is right now. So your long-term savings, definitely let's look at an offshore. That really is what you're looking at. Okay, we've got another question here. Let's see if I can get this to work. I want to start a business in marketing, mostly digital marketing. How would you advise I go about that or start in this time? Well, it's a very open question without knowing your specific situation. Do you have the funding? Do you have the network? Do you have the experience? Is always a good point. I think digital marketing is going to be huge. I think that people are going to turn more and more towards the internet to get their products, get their services, get their leads, get their message out there. Even after lockdowns end, we will still be the social distancing will still be a big effect, and people are going to turn, well, they have turned to online to get their information. So I think it's an amazing opportunity. I think but within that, it's it's a very broad field. So you want to again be asking yourself, go back to that question: what is the thing within digital marketing that you do better than anybody else? What is the thing that you do extremely well, and focus on that? I think that in that field you could get very muddled up in terms of there's Twitter, and there's personal branding, and there's corporate branding, and then there's lead generation. All this. Where are you going to focus on, and what is it that you're going to do? So I think writing that plan. I'm a big fan of business plans. I think writing that out and defining what is that specific area that you're involved in and getting started on that. And then, like any other business, like any other business, you get cracking. You start to find a client base and a lead base. You start to market to them. You start to get them to beat a foot to your door. And that's what you do. But I think it's going to be extreme. And I've said it 15 times, but I'll say it again. It's going to be important to do something that is where you've got a specialty, where you can differentiate yourself. What is it that you can do better than everybody else? And find that. That's what's going to help you. We've got another question here. Within the financial advisory sector, what do we say? What is your opinion? What does the future look like? Essentially, since it's a face-to-face sales business, you could actually extend this to a lot of businesses that rely on face-to-face sales. Okay, businesses that involve people sitting down face-to-face and doing business together have obviously been massively affected. Within financial advisory, let's step back and ask what it is we do. Financial advisors help people plan for the future with their money. I would say we take care of people when they're old, we take care of them when they're sick, and we put their kids through university. That's what financial advisors do. So that need hasn't gone away. Okay. So if we understand that, instead of our method, our route to market has changed, but that need for advice hasn't changed. So if we understand that, we know that the people are still out there. We know that the service that we provide is still here as well. Now we just need to understand, well, how do we get to them? And the way you get to them is through, right now it's virtual. We're running as Carrick, we've got virtual marketing campaigns and things. But we've had virtual wine tastings for our clients. They can get together where they introduce, friends that aren't clients of ours yet to our company in a more social environment. And we've had some great fun with 16, 20 people online being taught about a wine from a top winemaker doing a social event. So think about ways that you can get people together, talking to each other, and be referred. Being referred is the number one way of a financial advisor building his business. It always has been. And if any business that you're a face-to-face service industry, it's always been like that. So, if you think about it, if you've got a list of 10, 20 clients who are happy, enjoy your service, and like what you do, and you phone up each one of them and said, right, I'm looking to expand. Please introduce me to two of your friends that you think would benefit from having a chat to me. Nothing changes. Instead you're just not doing your meetings in a coffee shop, you're doing it on a Skype or a Zoom. What have we got here? What advice would you give about the tourism sector or travel and tours during the post-corona? What major changes do you think one needs to look at? The tourism sector is hard. Okay, I think that they've been absolutely decimated by, well, first of all, travel and tourism was changing already. Your traditional travel agents and things were already being taken out by the internet to a large extent. They were already being hurt quite badly. So that sector was already undergoing a massive change. I think that travel and tourism also, a lot of people jumped into things like Airbnb, and they were running their own mini guest houses and things. It's going to go more towards somebody who's offering something that that's unique. If I'm going to travel, first of all, the available money is less. So if you're a person who travels 3 times a year, you might only travel once now. The chances of people doing overseas travel is very limited. We haven't got that opportunity, etc. So if I'm going to travel and do something, I'm going to be a lot more selective about what it is that I do. And I think that what makes travel unique and special is the little extra services that people do. The extra bottle of champagne when you arrive, or it's an extra guided walk, whatever. But go back to what I say early on, focus on what you're good at. Well, how do you make your specific experience service, okay, within that industry? How do you make it completely unique? What are you doing to differentiate it from everybody else? Where people look at it and go, there's definite value in what you're offering. So, yeah, it's a very tough industry to be in. They've really been hurt, and it's going to be a while before they start to see the foot flows that they need. But take the time to ready yourself. Take the time to say, this is what I'm going to do to make my specific offering stand out and be completely different from everybody else's. I think that's what's going to help you in terms of going forward with the travel and tourism industry. What else have we got? What do you foresee playing out in the space of construction and civil engineering? And what's the best way to go about business after the lockdown? Construction, civil engineering, well, there's a lot of projects on in South Africa. I've got various views in terms of what I think about the South African property industry. I think it's in trouble, and I think that trouble is going to go on for a while, unfortunately. But what's going to play out? There's been a lot of the big names in the construction industry we're already in trouble. What's the best way to go about business after lockdown? How long is a piece of string? Again, you're looking at first of all, what is your business? What are the restraints that you're going to face? What stage is the lockdown, etc., and work with that. I don't think there's a one size fits all for anything anymore. We can't all just go back and assume that, the way we used to do things. We all woke up on a Monday morning, 8 o'clock, off we went, and we'd hit it until Friday, 5 o'clock, and then have a week. Those days are gone. You've got to say, what is my business? What are my clients? Get in touch with your clients. Get in touch with the people you work with. What are they expecting? What are they needing? And adapt to deliver that. Okay? Adapt to deliver that. If I phone up 10 of my clients and all of them say, listen, I need from now on for you to be available at 8 p.m. every night, guess what? I'm going to open at 8 p.m. every night. If you've got a whole lot of people who are saying, listen, I need you to provide me a research paper or something every Monday morning, you provide a research paper every Monday morning. Find out what it is they do, and that's going to be the best way to go about it. I think also, guys, is that remember that we're all going through the same challenges, and that's really, really important. It's a time because we're not seeing our friends, we're not seeing our family. It's a time where we really do feel alone. You really feel like it's just you, and the whole world is, leaving you behind, and you're the only one going through this. You're not. You really, really aren't. Every single person is losing sleep, worried, stressed, going through it. And reach out to the people around you. Talk to them about ideas, lean on each other and help each other. Because you may just be sitting down, chatting to somebody at 8 o'clock at night, and suddenly they'll say something and say, right, actually, you'll get this great idea. I think it's important to reach out and keep chatting, keep communicating. We've got very, very abstracted from each other before this. We spent our time staring at our phones. It's time to pick up the phone and call somebody, talk to them, talk to your friends, talk to your family, talk to people about the things you're stressing about, and listen to their ideas. I think that's going to really, really help you through. What does the journey of a digital startup look in South Africa? Would it be the same as a traditional business? Get a business plan and go find investors. Guys, I think that this idea of running out and always going out and finding investors it's not always the greatest idea in the world. Okay, and external funding comes at a huge price. Believe me, when somebody says to you, you got a business or an idea, whatever it is, in whatever environment, pre-corona, post-corona, anything else, when somebody's putting in all the money, they're going to take all of your business. Okay, if somebody comes up and pays 100% of the cash, you're going to end up with very, very little equity, and you're still going to do all of the work. So, move away from this idea of getting somebody else to pay for it. It's hard, I know, but rather live. And I mean, literally, when you say live in the smell of an oily rag, you can do that. But giving away equity in your business because you've gone and got external funding is literally the last thing you want to do. And it's something that you need to very seriously consider, because believe me, the guys who've got the money are going to take a lot from you in return for it. Okay, so think about when you're building these new businesses in whatever area it is, you focus more on what it is that you're going to do that's going to start driving people to your door. Okay, with digital marketing and that sort of thing, the great thing is you don't have a lot of costs in getting out on the internet, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, whatever it is, to start generating business for yourself, as long as you've got something that people are going to want. So it's about your product. That's what you're spending time. What is it I'm selling? What is the service? What is the thing that I'm offering to you? Those are the things that are going to make that difference. Those are the things that are going to make your business go fast, not finding somebody to pay for everything. Okay, guys, so listen, thanks for that. Thanks for the time with all of you that you spent with me. I appreciate you guys logging on, and hopefully I gave you an idea or two. I wish you guys all the very best. I really do. We're all in this together, and I really, really hope that you come out of this not only stronger, but much more successful. And, stay safe. Take care.